Who would have thought that there'd be a Buddhist community here in Utah County? Over the years, I've attended some of the meetings at the Awakening Valley Sangha in Provo, Utah. And at those meetings, I've encountered a variety of people. One of the people that I've interviewed is Lexi, and I found her to be one of the most intriguing people I've ever met. She's opened my eyes and made me see things that I had never even thought about before. Hopefully you'll have the same experience.
This is Lexi, and I'm going to ask her the 3 dream questions. The first one being, what are your hopes and dreams?
So I guess I would have to say my hopes and dreams is, first of all, I am, a transgender female, and, coming out and coming to terms with that in my identity has been, I have received an outpouring of kindness from, so many sources, and I would love to give back because there are so many women and men in my community that aren't so lucky, that due to the way that they're perceived, inaccurately might I say, they aren't able to continue with their education, get proper housing, there's job discrimination, and hopefully I would like to start putting together kind of a network of resources where if somebody needs a place to stay because they've been kicked out of their home or apartment or whatever, they will have those resources available, as well as, perhaps employers or whatnot that are LGBTQ friendly, and just a way to make it easier for them to be able to come out and do it successfully. Unfortunately, there is a tendency for especially youth to be put in a situation where they can't have continuing education and they end up being exploited. A lot of times it's prostitution or things of that sort, and not only does that put them in a dangerous path, but it proliferates the ideas that we are kind of a fetish and something to be disposed of, and that we're, debaucherous in a way. And so I would really like to do what I can just to help my community and, to promote education about what it actually means. Just because I know with further education and understanding is we do understand each other more and more. Kindness unfolds. Light brings about tolerance. So that is my dream, to be of service to my community, since I have been lucky enough to be afforded those things, and not all people are as lucky. So,
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So this comes from your experience that you've had yourself, and you've seen that in other people.
Yes.
And so how have your dreams changed over your lifetime?
A bit of an odd question, I suppose, or an odd answer. I guess growing up, I kind of had a sense of, I had 2 things going on. I was very, very religious, and, I had a sense that there was something inside of me which, according to those religious beliefs, was taboo, was very, very evil. And I thought that my lot in life was just to essentially transcend this life and prove to God that I could struggle with having a female spirit, which was essentially my thorn in the flesh as I understood it, and attain salvation in the next life. So I guess that's a way of saying I didn't really have so much of a goal other than to transcend this life, which is kind of sad. The one great thing about the way that my goals have changed is they've become much, much, much more centered on this life. It's kind of akin to, I guess, when the Buddha was asked about the next life, he essentially admitted ignorance and said, I don't know anything about the next life. I'm as a doctor to this life. I'm here to get rid of sickness and suffering and let the next life bring what it may. And I guess I've been afforded the chance to encounter a lot of suffering on deep levels, a very visceral level, and it's given me, I count it as a blessing in that it's given me the appreciation, the empathy to see that suffering in others, to see that there are so many people who are just barely holding it together, but putting on this veneer of security, and that the world is in need of some deep empathy. Yeah.
That kind of leads to the next question, which is if you were starting out in life yourself, what advice would you have liked to have had, or what advice would you give to someone who's just maybe graduating from high school or in the process of going to college or selecting a career?
So I guess I would answer by saying, first, your heart isn't wrong. Your heart's never wrong.
Wow.
And it takes a lot of people a while to come around to that, just because we do have, these expectations put upon us outwardly, either societally or from parents or even from ourselves. But your heart isn't wrong. As sappy as that sounds, it's true. The next piece of advice I would give would be, learn to be kind to yourself. Don't be critical. View yourself as you would a loving parent with an external view, not as somebody who is intimately aware of all of your faults, all your weaknesses that are with you 24/7, because that's not fair to judge yourself by those standards. Be kind to yourself. And I think the third piece of advice would be, learn to be comfortable being uncomfortable. An exercise that I like is at least once a day putting myself in a situation that I'm not quite comfortable with and sitting in it, or recognizing when those moments arise and just being able to sit. Because life is going to be full of uncomfortable situations, and situations where we're afraid or our ego may be damaged, our sense of self, and a lot of times that's the thing that will trip us up the most, keep us from pursuing our dreams, our hopes, and our goals. And it's nice when you have that sense of security where you can just say, okay, this feels uncomfortable, I don't like it, but I've done this before, it's going to pass.
Wow. Thank you so much. Is
You're
there
welcome.
anything else you'd like to add, or? Not necessary.
Just we're in this together. Be kind to each other. That's all.
Thank you so much, Lexi.